Hey everyone, Taryn here, and welcome to another Final Fantasy XIV Boss Encounter Guide. Today we are going to talk about the Isgebind fight, the final boss in the Stone Vigil. The Stone Vigil is an unlockable duty through the Duty Finder at level 40, as long as you properly progress through your main quest storyline. Now Isgebind is an ice dragon, and he has several abilities you need to know and understand in order to complete this encounter. When I ran in, I used Shield Lob to ensure I pulled Isgebind directly over to the left corner of the room, keeping him turned away from the healer and the DPS. The reason I wanted to keep him turned away from the healer and the DPS was so they wouldn't take any damage from Frost Breath. Frost Breath is a heavy damage frontal cone AoE that only the tank should eat. Now during phase 1 he'll also cast Rime Wrath, which is a moderate damage AoE attack that will hit all players within the zone, and he will cast Sheet of Ice, which will randomly target a party member, casting a frozen orb at them, and if they get hit by this attack, they'll take a moderate amount of damage, and they'll take 2 debuffs. One is Paralysis, and the other is Frostbite, which is a damage over time effect. Now when he initiates phase 2, he'll fly into the air, and he'll begin to cast Cauterize. What everybody should do at this point, as soon as he flies into the air, everyone needs to run to the center of the room, and begin to look for the blue icy patch shot across the ground. Now as soon as you see this, you need to make sure you stay out of it, because if you get caught in it, you'll take a heavy amount of damage, and you'll also take the debuff Frostbite. Now upon completion of his Cauterize, the tank needs to make sure that he runs directly back to the spot he was tanking him in, so that when Isgebind casts Touchdown, it'll land directly on the tank. Now the tank is going to have the most threat, so he'll always get this, but he needs to make sure he gets back to where he was tanking so Isgebind is away from everybody, because when he does land, it will do a small amount of AoE damage, and anyone standing within that range will get hit. Now, as we progress through the fight, you should save your limit break for the third phase. And the third phase will begin after 25%. Now, the way you'll know when this phase begins, you'll be able to see Isgebind will fly back into the air again, and he will cast Sheet of Ice repeatedly all over the ground. It's very, very important that you make sure that no one in your party just stops and stands during this phase. Everyone needs to continue moving, because Sheet of Ice is not the only ability he attacks. Upon completion of his Sheet of Ice phase, in phase 3, he will also turn around and cast Cauterize twice. So you need to make sure that you don't stand in Cauterize. Again, it does a heavy amount of damage and will cast the debuff Frostbite on you. Now, once his second Cauterize goes out, the tank needs to go back to the area he was tanking him in, as long as there's not a Sheet of Ice in the way, and he needs to pick up the boss there. This will allow the DPS to continue to DPS him down from their original spots as long as it's open. I highly recommend at this point, with all the Sheets of Ice out, that the DPS and the healer stack together, and they can move as one individual if they need to. But now your limit break hopefully is full at this point, and you'll be able to cast it and do a significant amount more damage and take him down a lot sooner. Now this phase should happen 2, maybe 3 times depending on how much DPS you have. But once you have completed him, the screen will go black and you'll have won. Get your loot and have a good day. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or send me a message on my Twitch page. It's www.twitch.tv/Taryn23, or you can hit me up on Twitter @Taryn23. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you like this.